Welcome to the BEASTwriter family, where social media engagement is encouraged. I am your host, Ryan Sakamoto, and today we are going to be making sense and breaking down your Carolina Panthers as to why they won the 2021 NFL Draft based on my analytics by simply going BPA, Best Player Available. Now, before we go ahead and talk about that, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for subscribing to my channel. Just be sure to turn on and flip on the bell notifications so you get notified when I go live or when I upload content. Also, as I'm running through the analytics, I'm seeing that number drop, which is a good sign to see because that means we're picking up subscribers. You guys like all my stuff, watch all my videos. There's about 36% of you guys that have yet subscribed to the channel, so please do your boy a solid and hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. All right, so let's go ahead and break it down. We're not gonna waste any more time as it pertains to the Panthers' new GM, Scott Fitterer. And again, for those who are wondering what my thoughts were when the Panthers made him their new GM, I did a podcast on that, got a lot of good feedback from the Keep Pounding fans down in Carolina. And if you want to see what I had to say about that in real time, once the announcement was made that he would be a great GM for the Carolina Panthers and what you guys should expect in real time as it pertains to the upcoming 2021 NFL Draft, here we are sitting today, and he just hit it out of the ballpark. So again, if you want to see that podcast and what I had to say about what GM Scott Fitterer brought to the table once the announcement was made that he would be the new Panthers GM, you can go ahead and check out that podcast in the description box below. And again, that's why I like to tie in earlier podcasts, which was 3, 4, 5 months ago, and tie it into this one so you guys can kind of connect the dots, see what I had to say in real time then, and then see what I had to say in hindsight now. All right, so let's go ahead and break it down. We're not going to waste any more time. Just let me go ahead and pull this up, and we'll get started. And again, I like to break down all my podcasts into simplest forms into 3 parameters. The first parameter is who are the players involved. The second parameter is why the move was made or potentially could be made. And the last but not least parameter is the instant gratification versus long-term gains. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the player. Well, let me just pull up the ticker here. The Carolina Panthers went ahead and sitting there at number 8, they selected Jaycee Horn, my number 2 ranked quarterback on my big board. Now, why would they go Jaycee Horn over a guy like Patrick Surtain? Well, the answer is very simple. He fits what Phil Snow likes to do on defense a little bit more. They saw a little bit more upside and potential in Jaycee Horn's game as opposed to Patrick Surtain. Now, Patrick Surtain may be the most fundamentally sound technician boundary cornerback in this year's draft class by far. But what Jaycee Horn brings to the table is another element, an explosive element to the backside of that defense. And again, if you guys want to look at the long-term game here, it makes financial sense to go after a cornerback, now whether that be Patrick Surtain or in this case, Jaycee Horn, because Deonte Jackson is in the last year of his contract. So again, when you already have Horn on the roster, he's an instant plug-and-play defensive back, and he brings instant playmaking ability. Again, Troy Pride Jr. was penciled in as the starter opposite of Deonte Jackson, and Troy Pride Jr. is a backup at best. So you guys know what you're getting with Jaycee Horn. In my opinion, he's the best press cover corner in this year's draft class. And again, the NFL bloodlines run deep with Jaycee Horn. He was one of my draft crushes coming out of this draft class. And there's no reason why GM Scott Fitterer went ahead and opted to go best player available with this pick over a positional need like, let's say, offensive guard Rashawn Slater. All right, so let's go ahead and take that down. I would give this grade an A simply because Jaycee Horn was a dynamic, explosive pick at number 8. And again, they go best player available because Jaycee Horn is ranked a lot higher than Rashawn Slater on my big board. All right, let's move down to number 2. This is where it gets interesting. In the second round, the Carolina Panthers more than doubled, tripled down on those gains. What did they do? Well, they kept on trading back in the second round. So they traded down from number 39 to number 52 with the Chicago Bears, ultimately gaining a third-round pick, number 83 overall, which I'll talk about a little bit in detail in this podcast. And they also pick up an additional 6th-round pick, number 204. Both those picks ended up being solid players. Again, I'm going to go ahead and break down those picks. But again, this is a nice trade for GM Scott Fitterer to move just 7 picks down and still pick up a guy by the name of wide receiver Terrace Marshall, who is ranked my 25th player on my big board. Terrace Marshall is a big body wide receiver. He can catch at the catch point, can run all the routes. he is similar to a poor man's Justin Jefferson. I'm not going to say he is Justin Jefferson because he's not. But, I mean, coming from the same school, LSU, you see what he's doing there and what he brings to the table. He obviously reunites with offensive coordinator Joe Brady, who was his offensive coordinator at LSU, now with the Carolina Panthers. So you can see what the Carolina Panthers are trying to do here. All right. So not only did they do that, moving back from 39 to 52, but then they also moved back from 52 to 59. So that's a number of 7 picks there that they moved back from 39 to 52 and then 52 from 59. They keep on moving back and back and back and still pick a guy like Terrace Marshall. Is a crazy, crazy idea to think about because, again, when they made that trade, moving back just 7 spots with the Cleveland Browns while still gaining an additional 3rd-round pick in return, number 89 overall, which they would later trade, it made financial sense to go ahead and get their guy. Now, when they were sitting there at number 39, I thought their best bet would be to use the shotgun approach and take a guy like Asante Samuel Jr., who would instantly be the plug-and-play nickelback. However, they didn't do that, but the risk paid off because at the end of the day, they got Terrace Marshall, who falls to them at number 59 while picking up 2 third-round picks. They didn't trade back once. They traded back twice and still got a top 25 player on my big board. So, again, this is a win for GM Scott Fitterer. I told you guys, again, if you watch the podcast in the description box below, you will know. I said, hey, guys, GM Scott Fitterer is a great GM. Watch him trade back and maneuver the draft how he sees fit or trades up for a potential prospect that he likes. You see what he did there, and he did trade up, which I'm going to talk about on the next pick. Brady Christensen. They traded up from 73 to 70 and got that guy. All right, so again, very happy with what the Carolina Panthers did in the 2nd round, manipulating the draft, leveraging their draft flexibility, moving back not once, but twice on day 2. So a nice pickup, and they get 2 valuable 3rd-round picks in return, which talks about our 3rd-round pick, number 70, offensive tackle / offensive guard, Brady Christensen, who is responsible for blocking Zach Wilson's blind side over at BYU. And this pick was acquired from Philadelphia. They moved from 73 to number 70, just moving up 3 spots. And again, Carolina yielded a 6th-round pick, number 191. That's fine because this draft class isn't deep anyways. And in return, they got a fundamentally sound workout warrior. If you guys remember, Brady Christensen had a heck of a pro day. In fact, his broad jump would have ranked top of all offensive linemen, and it was one of the ranked top of all offensive linemen ever for the broad jump. So the guy was jumping through the roof. You saw the explosiveness in his workout warriors numbers. But aside from that, he's fundamentally sound and a true technician of the game. So he adds value here at offensive tackle, but his arms are a little concerning for me. He only has a 32.5-inch arm length, which in the NFL standards, that's really, really bad. Not horribly bad where you're going to just swipe him off and say, you know what, this guy's strictly a guard because of his arm length. But with that being said, it is a cause for concern. And again, if you're going against these edge rushers, you want to get your hands up and you want to keep them at bay. So the longer arm length, obviously, the more valuable you are on protecting that edge. With that being said, he can also kick inside to offensive guard. And that's where I think the Carolina Panthers are ultimately going to use him because they have Taylor Moton on the right tackle position. They obviously brought in Cam Irving in free agency, and they also brought in Pat Elflein as an interior guard. So if anything, what GM Scott Fitterer was doing, he was wise to go best player available in the 2nd round, but then having enough smarts to go ahead and getting a blindside left tackle, an interior offensive guard, whatever the case may be, however they want to use him, for Sam Darnold so he's not seeing ghosts like he did with the New York Football Jets. So again, it's a viable replacement here where I can see Brady Christensen maybe try out on the blindside left tackle position, but then slowly move in with this versatility inside to guard where he's really going to challenge Dennis Daly, who is penciled in as the interior offensive guard slot starting spot. So Dennis Daly is not good. Brady Christensen is way better. So a nice pickup. And obviously GM Scott Fitterer thought highly enough to go ahead and move up from 73 to 70 with the Philadelphia Eagles and go ahead and get their guy. All right, which leads to this pick. This is one of my favorite picks in the third round, and that ultimately is, let me pull up the ticker, tight end Tommy Tremble. They got this guy in the third round, number 83 overall. If you remember, I just spoke about how they just struck a deal trading in the second round, moving back a few spots with the Chicago Bears. And in doing so, they went ahead moving back from 39 to 52, ultimately getting this pick in return. And as a result, Tommy Tremble is the perfect H-back and will be the lead blocker for Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is going to love Tommy Tremble because he's not only going to be the best blocking tight end in this draft class when it's all said and done. The Panthers get a high potential, high products prospect to where his hands may be questionable because he wasn't used very much in Notre Dame's offense. But at the end of the day, what you get with Tommy Tremble is a hell of a blocker down inside the red zone. So again, he's going to help out in red zone efficiency. He's going to help out in goal line situations, and he can be a dual threat as a pass catcher running down the seams because he does have the speed. Now, the questionable hands is a concern, but that can be coached up eventually at the NFL level, or one would like to hope. So again, if you're looking at it from this standpoint, I believe that Tommy Tremble is actually a better prospect who has a higher ceiling than a guy like Hunter Long, who was drafted by the Miami Dolphins just a few picks ahead. So again, I really like this pick for the Carolina Panthers. I think he's going to do wonders for that ground game and what Matt Rule likes to do and imposing his will down in the trenches. So again, a great pickup in Tommy Tremble, who's an H-back that can move him around in all different sorts and sizes, in all different formations. So whether it's 12 personnel, 22 personnel, obviously the H-back is utilized more like a tight end, but he's lined up in the backfield, hence H-back. So again, there's a lot of different pieces that you can do with a guy like Tommy Tremble heading that lead blocking role. I like this pick. I love this pick. Great job by GM Scott Fitterer. Again, all right. Now, this is where it kind of gets dicey, right? So up until this point, they had an A grade in my grading system, but this is where it kind of gets dicey. I like the trade backs and I like the pickups that they got in return. However, I did think that they missed a little bit here, and I'm going to explain that right now. All right, so here's some trade alerts that the Carolina Panthers did after these picks were made, right? They traded down from number 89 to number 109 with the Houston Texans. As a result, they gained a fifth-round pick, number 158, and a 2022 future fourth-round pick. So they're getting draft pick capital in return, which is a nice move by the Carolina Panthers. With that being said, they did miss out on getting another one of the guys I really like in Michael Carter. All right, Michael Carter went off a few picks later to the New York Jets, and he went to 107. So with the Carolina Panthers, they're sitting out there at 109, but they could have him at 89, moving back 20 spots, hoping Michael Carter would fall 20 spots. Well, that's fool's gold when the New York Jets were picking there at 107. And I said that he would be a perfect fit for the 49ers, if you remember, who were sitting there in the second round at number 43. This is why I thought the draft grade has slipped a little bit, because Michael Carter would have been an absolute steal at this pick, guys. An absolute steal at this pick. Ultimately, they factored in the trading back and the risk versus reward and thought and took the shot that Michael Carter would be there at 109. He just went off the board at 107 to the New York Jets. That then prompted, once Michael Carter was off the board, for Carolina to trade back, because that was their guy. They traded back from 109 to all the way down to number 126 with the Tennessee Titans, and ultimately made that pick and picked up a running back in Chuba Hubbard in the fourth round, number 126 overall. In doing so and moving back that many draft selections, they also pick up an additional fifth round pick. So again, they're fielding draft capital in return by trading down. But ultimately, the picks were finally made. And again, I would have liked the Carolina Panthers. I would like them to see and take Michael Carter at 89. He wasn't going to fall within that 20 spot range in your lap at 109 with the Jets sitting there at 107. And that's why they traded back again and ultimately found the next tier running back. Again, Michael Carter was in the tier in his own. Chuba Hubbard is in the tier down. So sitting there at number 126, he's a nice change of pace back for Christian McCaffrey. But at the end of the day, with Mike Davis gone, you need to fill that need. Ultimately, Hubbard adds value and a similar skill set. So I see why the pick was made, but I would have loved them to see and get Michael Carter. All right, so Chuba Hubbard, nice pickup there. Now let's move on to the 5th round. This is where they actually, again, went best player available, which is why their grade's so high, right? So they went ahead and got defensive tackle Daviyon Nixon out of the University of Iowa. Again, he was drafted in the 5th round, number 158 overall. And what you do here is you're giving Derek Brown another 2-down run stuffer to where on obvious running situations, 1st and 2nd down, they can really play this personnel grouping. Daviyon Nixon is a force. He's an anchor at the point of attack. No, he doesn't bring any sort of pass rush. So that's never going to be in his game. And ultimately, Derek Brown is kind of with the pass rush. But again, you get 2 run stuffers in the heart of the defense. And again, 2 clogs in the middle of that defense. And with a top 5 defensive tackle like Daviyon Nixon dropping to the 5th round, GM Scott Fitterer finds again value, great value, I should say, in a trade down with Houston at number 89, which allows them to pick up Daviyon Nixon in the 5th. So again, a nice pickup there. A lot to talk about with the Carolina Panthers, as you can see, right? All right, this is where it gets really fun in the later rounds. Carolina, again, hit it out of the ballpark in the 6th round. What did they do? All they did was got Alabama Roll Tide Roll. You guys know I'm a huge Alabama Roll Tide fan. They got Deonte Brown at number 193, and then they got wide receiver Shi Smith, number 204, from Chicago. The trade, again, earlier in the 2nd round from Chicago, when they moved back from 39 to 52, they went ahead and picked up this pick number 204 that ended up being Shi Smith, who could have gone as early as the 4th or 5th round. So he drops to them in the 6th round. And again, what the Carolina Panthers are doing is similar to what I've been saying all along is, again, they're going best player available no matter what the round is. And it was smart for Scott Fitterer to hit out of the ballpark in the 6th round by not reaching for need, diminishing the value of the pick. Now, they already got guys like Brady Christensen in the 3rd round, right, who's a versatile offensive tackle, offensive guard. They then get Deonte Brown, who's obviously only an offensive guard. The guy's a mammoth of an interior lineman. He's not going to be able to move in space, but what he will do is provide red zone efficiency and in goal line situations, along with Tommy Tremble. So you see the kind of dynamic and the personnel grouping and the value board, how they had it set up heading into this draft class. The proof is in the pudding based on the draft picks that were selected. With that being said, they then doubled down on those gains with the shotgun approach. I talked about this on my earlier live streams. They went ahead and they pulled in wide receiver Terrace Marshall, my number 25 ranked player on my big board, at wide receiver from LSU, and then get another SEC product in Shi Smith out of South Carolina. So again, nice pickups from them. I really like these 2 prospects. And again, these guys are going to be good for the respective team and down the line. So again, smart play by Scott Fitterer. So now just go ahead and finishing up. Let's look at the remaining draft picks that the team signed and drafted. They got cornerback Keith Taylor in the 5th round, number 166. They got long snapper Thomas Fletcher in the 6th round, number 222. And defensive tackle, again, the shotgun approach, with Phil Hoskins in the 7th round, number 232. Good players, great players? Absolutely not. Camp bodies? Yes. Will they make the roster? Probably not. But at the end of the day, this draft class wasn't very deep to begin with, and they had to make the pick somewhere since they were drafting there. So that's why ultimately they had to make these picks. And again, Panthers GM Scott Fitterer hit out of the ballpark. Again, a lot of fans and here in the BEASTwriter family said, the Panthers had the best draft class. I would say they had a really good draft class, but again, anytime you had an opportunity to draft Michael Carter at 89 and then you drop 20 picks and then select a running back at 126 because you couldn't get the player at 109 because he comes off the board at 107 to the New York Jets. So ultimately, you did yourself a disservice and kind of shot yourself in the foot there. I would have given them an A grade if they stuck with the pick and selected Michael Carter. They didn't. So that's why I'm going to give the Carolina Panthers a solid B for this draft grade. I don't give plus or minuses attached to the letter grade. I just give an A, B, C, D, F grade, and they get a solid B, which is a really good grade from the BEASTwriter family. So that'll be it for today. Carolina Panthers fans, go ahead and drop your comments in the comments section below. Let me know your thoughts and what your thoughts are. If you like the podcast, please be sure to spread the word to all your family and friends. Share the video, like the video, and be sure to hit the subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner of your screen as you stay up to date on all things Beast in real time. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Mahalo Day. BEASTwriter out. Keep